Welcome to Live, Let, Thrive, a podcast about the Airbnb life, the share economy, and everything in between. Here are your hosts, Micah and Steve.
Hello.
And welcome back to another exciting episode
Of Live,
Let
Thrive.
Thrive.
Hey, what's up, Michael Man?
I am good. How you doing, Stevie Stacks?
I'm doing great, man. I'm ready to tackle this episode 129 of your favorite Airbnb, VRBO, Home Away, Uber, all that, Lyft, share economy podcast. Are you ready?
Yes, sir. Born ready.
We have a guest today, Sara Aber. Y'all want to know about Sara? I'll tell you a little something about Sara. Sara's been doing buy and hold real estate since 2007 and owns 4 LTRs and 4 STRs. That's long-term rentals, short-term rentals. She also has a day job as a marketing consultant for a Fortune 500 company. She is launching a website called vacationstays.com to promote direct booking for vacation rentals. Give it up for Sara.
Hi.
Yay.
Nice to meet you guys.
Yeah,
nice to meet you.
Cool. So you're all about turning this. I guess we're gonna go heavy into this show about the direct booking aspect of vacation rentals.
Yeah.
What makes you want to focus on that?
I think I started doing vacation rentals through Airbnb, and that's kind of how I got my start. And it was great, and it does make it easy to kind of get started. But once you start to scale and you realize how much money you're leaving on the table, and then how much control you're giving up, it just doesn't make sense anymore once you get to a certain point. And even before you get to a certain point, when there's opportunities to cut out costs, there's no reason not to do it. So with the rentals that I have now, Mill Creek Cabins in Finger Lakes, New York, I have a website. I drive people to the website, and I've achieved 80% direct bookings, which has been great. I mean, it is a really good website, and it's has really good SEO, so that really helps. But I also think I would love to close that gap, especially this year. Like, let's close the gap, make it 100%. And so I would love to see a lot more hosts achieve that. And it may not be 100% right away, or it may take time, but I think that moving in that direction can just benefit everybody.
So I have a question real quick. Where are your short-term rentals located?
So they're in the Finger Lakes, New York, which is central New York. It's about 4.5 hours from New York City. It's a relatively rural area with a lot of wineries, 200 wineries, and a lot of waterfalls.
So when COVID hit, you weren't hit as hard then, were you?
So I was not hit as hard. The county I was in had the least number of COVID cases in all of New York State, but the county also didn't have a lot of hospitals. So they actually asked us to voluntarily shut down, which I had guests that really wanted to come. I own cabins. They're a great place to go and kind of get away, great place to quarantine and kind of get away from everything. So I had people that really, really wanted to stay, but I realized that one thing you cannot change in real estate is the community you're in. So they asked me to do it. So I closed down and I reopened May 22nd. It's a drive location. So I've been gangbusters. I'm completely booked through the end of August. Wow. So it is an unusual year for sure.
Okay. And so you're located on the outskirts of New York. And I heard everyone on the outskirts was doing pretty well because they were away from the hustle and bustle. And and you said you're at 80% direct bookings.
80% direct bookings.
How did you do that?
It's definitely about having a strong website, but then also the social media has been really, really helpful. For me, it's been Facebook. Especially for my target audience. My target audience is a drive from the cabins, 3 to 4 hours. It actually tends to be a little bit older, which I actually really like. When I bought the cabins, I thought it was going to be like millennials glamping and all of those things, but turns out, millennials who like to glamp, they only like to glamp on weekends or in the summer, and those are booked already. I realized that retirees are actually much better for my business. So the older generation, really strong on Facebook. So if I have anything open, I'll post it on Facebook. It is booked really, really quickly, especially right now. But yeah, it's been social media, and then just really optimizing the website and Google ads, that kind of thing.
Okay. And you said on Facebook, so you mean like you just post on, hey, we have availability, and then they click on it and they go to vacationstays.com?
Well, right now they go to fingerlakescabins.com. So they go to my website. So I have basically been building for the past 3 years this formula for how you kind of can get these people to book on your site. And so that's what I want to bring to vacationstays.com. I want to take that formula and I want to make it global. I think that if we want to, as hosts, kind of take back the control, I think it needs to be on a global scale. I think there's a lot of regional sites that are doing it really well, but right now I don't know that there's a global solution that is going to help hosts really be able to get a strong set of bookings from outside of the OTAs.
Now, is it really hard to create your own booking website and listing website? And how much does that usually, how much does that cost? And what all do you need to do that?
Yeah, there's so many different ways to do it. The way I chose, I researched it, I chose it. I don't know if I have the best one. I use Lodgify. And for me, I have 4 listings and it's maybe $700 a year. But I have a website, channel manager, everything's kind of built into it. I think Lodgify is great, but there's a lot of other places that do it. OwnerRez is another one that people use. And then you can also kind of put it together yourself. You can do Wix. There's a lot of ways that you can build a website that are pretty inexpensive, especially for the value that you get.
And they're integrated with Airbnb?
Yeah, so it's just you use the iCal integration, just like, whenever you do between Airbnb and VRBO, that iCal integration, you can do that with Lodgify. So, and then you can also do, and that's how I do it for my website, but then you also can use that iCal for vacation stays as well.
So Lodgify, how much do they charge you per listing?
I don't really know, actually. I think I just signed up. I think I had a bundle that was like 1 to 4. And mine was $700. Someone told me the other day that they got it for a lot cheaper, but I don't know, if there's different options or if things have changed since I've signed up.
And Lodgify, they do pretty good SEO for your website and all that?
Lodgify does some SEO for the website, but also, me having content on there and updating pictures and things regularly really helps as well.
Wow. Because I just signed up with Your Porter. And it's been doing pretty well because I'm just running ads to it, but I still haven't got a direct booking yet. So I'm still focusing on, that's why I'm like really focusing on how do I do it. And then I found myself kind of getting lazy because Airbnb started picking back up and I'm like, I don't want to depend on that,
Yeah. I mean, I think especially in the beginning, it kind of has to be an and strategy. So the way I have it, I now have, you can only book on Airbnb maybe 3 months out. That way people have a chance to do direct book first. And then I only do Airbnb for, the random, I have an extra, 2-night stay on a Sunday, Monday. Airbnb will fill that. So that's how I've been managing it.
Oh, so you just cut Airbnb out the picture at some point. And then
Yeah. And so if I just keep it, I'd love to kind of move it to less and less. And maybe I go away from Airbnb, or maybe I always have them as kind of the, the safety net for when I, can't fill it up with direct bookings.
Okay. And
go
ahead, Steve.
Oh, sorry. And now, on your profile pic on Airbnb, since you still kind of use it, you thought you put like a logo or something that kind of would tell the people, hey, go here instead, instead of save some money?
Yeah, I mean, there are sometimes, there are people that will come on and then ask if they can go off, and we'll try to hint a little bit. But usually, if they're there on Airbnb, I don't necessarily try to. I don't try super hard to get them to leave, just because if that's where they're comfortable, that's fine. I don't want them to think I'm doing anything unsavory by pulling them off of the platform. But I think, it's more about building up this kind of personality for the cabins that people are really attracted to. And then they actually feel a little bit more, it feels like a little bit more of an authentic experience when they're dealing directly with, myself or Rebecca, the manager, and being able to kind of sort out all the details. With the virus, I have to say the difference in cancellations was incredible, the way that they were handled. So with my direct booking customers, a lot of them had to cancel. We had to cancel some of them because we had to close. At least half of them, we were able to convince to reschedule. Some of them couldn't. They said, oh, it's a wedding and now it's not going to happen, or it's going to happen somewhere else. Can we cancel? We gave them a full refund. I had no problem giving people full refunds. But on Airbnb, there was no conversation. There was no, hey, we're thinking about canceling. Are there any options? They just canceled because the cancellation policy took the conversation away between us and the guests. And that's the part I think that made me the most upset about it. Is it wasn't about giving back the money. I was going to give back the money regardless, but it was about the fact that there was no relationship there, and I wasn't able to kind of solve any problems with that.
Made you feel like a cheap hotel, right?
Yeah, exactly. Whereas with my direct bookings, I have next 4th of July booked, right? I've got, people moved them to the fall, they moved them to next year, and, and they were, we asked for a 50% deposit down, and they're like, yep, that's fine, keep it. We'll come back next year. Wow. Made things a lot easier. And, I look at the hosts that, rely on Airbnb, and what I experienced and how I felt with Airbnb is how they had to feel about their entire business. And that I think is unfortunate. I think that's not the best way to, you don't want to feel that you're out of control when it's your business. It's your life savings that you put into it. It's your loving care, your design, everything about that experience you created. And then Airbnb just kind of takes away that connection.
You love hosting, don't you?
I do. It's really fun. I don't love cleaning. I don't do the cleaning. I can't. I'm not good at it.
I hate cleaning too. Well, I think we all do. That's cool. I see the joy in you about it, because there's so many burned out Airbnbers or short-term renters. It's just it turned into like a business that they hate, but I see that you just love doing it, like the whole design, and you're treating people good and all that.
Yeah. When I was looking for kind of my next, the next one, and I was looking at one listing that I was looking at buying, and it had in the first sentence, all capital letters, that was just like, I don't remember what the rule was, but it was like, you must do this or that. And it was the very first sentence of their listing. And I'm like, they're burned out. They're done. Yeah. They just, because the property was beautiful. I'm like, why aren't they, being successful with this property? They're just done with it. So sometimes I can see how it really gets to people.
Yeah, people don't put like certain systems in place. A lot of those people end up having a party house. They don't know how to put systems in place to avoid it. So yeah, they get burned out real quick. It's crazy.
Oh, how do you keep from getting burned out? I mean, I'm sure you've been through some bad situations. How do you get that to not affect you so badly?
Honestly, I put a really strong team in place, and that took a lot of different iterations. The first team was not the team that I have now. But getting the right people in place, and then building the processes around it, and, having the right communication systems, it just made it a lot easier to manage. And I have Rebecca manages all of the guest communication, and she does a brilliant job of it. She absolutely loves doing it. And so I think, just honestly, that's really the thing, is the people. When you build the right set of people, everything becomes easier.
Now, what's the most important component? Who's the most important person in this team that you're building? I think I know the answer, but go ahead.
I think it can change. So I think a year ago, I had a caretaker that he did the landscaping, and but he also was the emergency contact. So he was the one, if people had a problem, he would come over and take care of it. And I had cleaners too, but the cleaners, they came in, they cleaned, and they left. The caretaker at that point was the most important, because that was the person taking the ownership over the whole guest experience. And now that's shifted. It's actually the person who cleans now does the customer service, and now she, she's the one who's invested, and she's making sure that all the money's coming in. So it really changes. It's the person who cares and like takes the ownership of the guest experience that is the most important. And then the rest of it's, I've plug in the landscapers here and there, plug in the maintenance, that kind of thing.
Nice, because I guess in what I'm going through right now, because I've had a couple of Airbnbs up and running, and then both cities that they were in got shut down, so I hadn't done it in a while. This house that we live in, we went out of town last week. We got back a couple of days ago, went to South Padre Island, and so I was like, you know what, I'm Airbnb this house out while I'm gone, and I did it, and I used the old same reliable cleaner that I've always used, and she did one more cleaning before we came home, and I got home, and I'm like, and I guess you kind of get used to, like you said, you change your team a few times. I guess when she was doing my Airbnbs, I'm not going there all the time. I just trusted that she did it good. When I got home, I was like, oh, really? This has been my cleaner the whole time? And I'm like thinking, you kind of have to pay the money and get a good rock star cleaner, because that's like the most important in my eyes.
Yeah, I think that's when you have the right people, you have to treat them really, really well. And, with my team, like, it is money, right? Making sure we're paying them well. When we have a good year, we get a super host, I'll give bonuses and things like that. But it's also just about giving the ownership as well. I feel like them having ownership and having pride and being excited about getting the review rather than the review, rather than me being the one that's excited about getting the review, them being the one that's excited about it. I think that makes a huge difference in what the guest experience is.
How do you give them ownership? Do they get like a bonus if they hit 5 stars, or how does that work?
Yeah, I mean, that can be, I think it depends on the person and what motivates them. So I think
money.
It can be money, right?
Just kidding.
It can be money. And yeah, I mean, it's
pride. Yeah.
I think, with the team I have now, it is about pride, and it's about, loving that we get all these great reviews and yeah, absolutely compensated for it too. But, finding what really motivates people is really important. I realized that, had I laid off my staff is part-time. Had I laid them off, they actually probably would have gotten more money in unemployment. And I talked to them about it. I was like, ooh, should I have laid you off? And they're like, and then I wouldn't have been able to leave my house. No, I wanted to leave my house. I wanted to get out and I wanted to do things. So, even when we were shut down, we had a long list of things that, we just needed to get done. And I was able to pay them to get it done because I got the PPP loan, and it worked out great. So.
Nice.
So you got the PPP?
I did. Yeah. Got the PPP.
I didn't get that one.
You didn't?
No, I got the SBA, but I didn't get the PPP.
Okay. Well, I mean, I'm incorporated as an S-corp. I pay them through, they're W-2 employees for me. So it was pretty clear cut that, and I fortunately work with like a regional bank. I think if I had been with a large bank, it would have been a little harder.
That's a good thing that you pay them W-2. See, mine are all contractors. And that's definitely a good thing. One thing I learned, pay people W-2 so then you can get the extra benefits, Yeah, that's one thing I learned.
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, though, it's probably more expensive to pay W-2, probably. But yeah, there's definitely benefits to it as well. So, yeah.
And where are your long-term rentals at?
Scattered through Pennsylvania. So I have one in Philly, one in Hershey, and then one in Mechanicsburg, Pennsylvania. Each of them were owner-occupied house hacks. So lived in Philly, rented out the three other rooms, I was, in my early 20s, and it was great. And they paid the mortgage, and I was like, this is the life. This is fantastic. I moved out of town, made that a rental. And then when I've lived in cities, I haven't bought. So I just don't. I don't buy, I lived in Chicago, I didn't buy there, didn't buy in DC, didn't buy in New York. But when I lived in Hershey, PA, I bought there. And then Mechanicsburg is near that as well. So I bought in Hershey, and then I moved to Mechanicsburg, bought that owner occupied, got a duplex. And now, until March 15th, I lived in New York City. So I don't buy in New York City. I like to buy, I'm a small town investor. I like that better.
I'm moving that route too. I'm finding the joys in that route. Yeah.
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 I read an article that that small town investing is like blowing up right now. I'm like, well, that makes sense why I can't find anything.
Yeah,
I've been looking.
I've literally, small town investing is heating up because I think I bought 2 so far since the coronavirus in smaller town. I bought one, and I have 1 under contract. So it's heating up because I think a lot of people, like especially on the short-term rental side, they seen what wasn't hit by COVID and then what was hit. It seems like these small towns where you just drive through, they didn't get hit as hard. So
yeah,
definitely heating up.
Especially living in an environment like that, living in New York City or a big city with the COVID just going crazy. People are going to start moving, man, going to the small towns again or the suburbs.
Yeah. I lived in 300 square feet and I made it 48 hours. I had been traveling. I traveled a lot for my job. I was in Chicago, Boston, and Mexico, like the 3 weeks leading up to COVID. And then I went to my apartment and I'm like, all right, this is where I'm going to be for the next 3 months. And I looked around after 48 hours. I was like, I can't do it. I left. When my lease ended in April, I packed up. I had all my stuff packed up. It's in storage somewhere. I'm not going back anytime soon. I might go back next year, if my company opens up their office again, but I'm in no rush.
Oh, so you live in one of your cabins?
No, because they're really booked. So I'm with family now.
Oh, nice.
I mean, honestly, like coronavirus kind of gave me permission to come home and live with mom and dad. And like, this is great. Saving all kinds of rent. It's gonna be great for my next investment. I can't wait.
Hell yeah.
So do you plan on getting any more short-term rentals up?
Yeah. So I actually, that first Philly house, I literally sold it today on accident. I didn't mean to sell it because I'm a buy and hold investor, but I got a call from a realtor that had an offer. And 3-4 days after he initially called, they looked at it, they put an offer on it. I'm like, okay, sure, I'll do that. So I'm going to 1031 exchange that into more short-term rentals in the Finger Lakes, which I'm really excited about because it's such like a nerdy tax thing.
Yeah,
nice.
1031. I love the 1031. So where are you going to be looking to expand to? Do you have any particular city in mind?
I love the team that I have in the Finger Lakes. So my goal is to, I'm looking in commuting distance of my existing team. So, the Finger Lakes, there's Seneca, Cayuga Lake. I'm looking in between those two. And I'm looking at a few different things. I might buy land and then put like a little tiny house community on it. Or I might buy something that's existing that, I can then expand. But the most important thing is that I'm able to add value to it with my expertise and what I know about the market and what I know about, about short-term rentals. So that's in that region.
Wow. I didn't think about it because I was thinking like, where should I expand to? I've been buying in one area, but then I'm kind of like, how many Airbnbs or short-term rentals is too many for one area? Because I noticed like the Saunders, the Lyrics, they had so many in one place, they went bankrupt.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. Well, I think it's about, knowing what your market can handle, but also knowing, what do you have to offer? So I know in my area what people are going for. They want a romantic getaway. So when I was in Hershey, people wanted, kids. They were going to Hershey Park and they had families and things like that. So whenever I would go out of town and I'd Airbnb my place, I'd have families come in. This place, it's not families. It's people want to bring their dog. They want to drink wine. And they want privacy. The best amenity that I have is a fenced-in backyard. One of my cabins has a fenced-in backyard, which I kind of thought looked a little cheesy because I'm like, oh, cabins are supposed to be like more rustic. I thought about taking it down, but then people started coming. They're like, I can let my dog out in the backyard. This is great. It is my top performing rental. People love having a fence. And now I'm adding fences to the other ones because that's, this like one amenity is just clinching it for people.
So that is awesome.
So you do allow pets?
I do. In this particular area, it's very necessary, but I also, I haven't had, there's the joke that like a lot more problems with people than pets. Pets are usually, I think I've had maybe one dog that did chew up some furniture, but over the course of the time I've owned it, not a lot of problems with that.
It's fun. The reason why I asked that is because I just started allowing pets. I just started doing it. I've been hearing a lot of people, and I was like, I'm going to try it. And I've been doing it. I'm like, hey, we have a backyard. And I just they were like, because that's what most people see. They see you have a backyard. They're going to ask. So I'm like, right. Okay. So, and that hasn't been too bad so far. So.
Yeah, no, I like it. I mean, and you can charge a little more for it. And people are like more than happy to pay for it because bringing your dog on vacation is so great. You don't have to get a sitter. You don't have to do Rover. They just kind of get to hang out with you and makes them happy. And yeah, I think it's a good all around thing.
Now when the COVID thing was starting to go crazy and, they started did they start canceling your listings right away?
It took a little while. People were not sure whether they were going to cancel. The first people to start canceling were people from Canada that couldn't come, and then people in the military that couldn't be far away from their bases. So that's when I was like, okay, how am I going to handle this? In those situations, like, well, they absolutely can't come, so I'm going to give them full refunds. And then as things progressed and then people started having to cancel for all kinds of reasons, that was just when I decided, like, I'm going to do the full refund thing, and it's fine. And at that point, I didn't know that there would be any government support for it, but I do feel grateful that I was, because I've set up as an S-corp and I, have done everything, I was able to get the disaster loan and things like that. So it kind of offset some of, not all of, but some of the pain of that.
So when it started to shift, though, like people, okay, cancellations, and all of a sudden, everybody wants to go there now to get out of the city, right? And
yeah.
so, but at the same time, you're the city they're in, the Finger Lakes, it called.
Yeah.
They wanted y'all to not host people anymore, right?
They wanted me to not host in beginning of April to end of May.
Okay.
Because they didn't have any hospital beds. So they were like, if you bring people here, especially from there, you get them from New York City, you bring people here, then they get sick. We can't take care of them that easily. So it's just too much of a risk to the community to kind of bring people in. But yeah, as soon as May 22nd hit, I've been completely booked. I do put a night in between each stay, which has been a little bit hard to manage because I had pre-existing people that I then had to like move and change and things like that to make everything work. But I am doing like a night in between just in case.
Because I guess my question was, did you get like that period where you couldn't, host anybody? Were you still getting people like, hey, just I'll give you $10,000, just let me stay for the whole, just let me sit this whole thing out, at your place? Or did you get any requests like that?
Oh, every day, every single day. It was so painful to turn down money every single day. It was like people were like, come on, please, And I think the one in the beginning that made my mind up is they called and they're like, well, my wife is immune compromised and I want to get out of where I am to kind of make sure that the person doesn't get sick. And I'm like, but there's no guarantee. They could come here and they could still get sick and now they're further from a hospital. And it just made me feel like, you know what, I don't want to have to, be in this position of, suddenly the neighbors are having to like help these people get to the hospital. I'm not going to do it. I'm just going to shut down, and just not have to worry. You know, I'd rather worry about money than worry about people in that situation. So, but yeah, calls every single day. People want.
It's a good problem to have, I guess.
It was a good problem to have, but it was just, more painful than now we're booked and we have to tell people, no, I don't mind that at all. Mm-hmm. Oh no, sorry, we're booked. Like, I don't mind that at all, but having to turn down the money at that moment when we actually really needed it, it was hard, but it was the right thing to do.
There you go.
As painful as it was.
So, what tips? Let me see. What tips, advice would you give to somebody that wants to try to start dipping their toe into the, self promotion, own website, stuff like that? Well, I mean, it's kind of a big jump for people. You know, they're afraid, like, who's going to back me if they destroy my house? You know.
Well, so I think there's a lot of things that that I think every short-term rental owner needs to have anyway, and I think that's having the right insurance. So a lot of people will rely on Airbnb's insurance, but then Airbnb doesn't necessarily cover everything. And then if they don't cover it and you go to your regular insurance, they might say to you, hey, what do you mean you weren't there when this happened? Who was there? Why were they there? Now they're not going to cover it either. So I think, having the right insurance in place is really, really important. So I think making sure those ducks are in a row, making sure your contracts and your vetting process is all set up. I think you do need to get your house in order first before you go out on your own. But once your house is in order, it can be as simple as creating a Facebook page. You don't have to go all the way to making a website if you're not ready or you're not sure how it'll work. But as long as your house is in order, I think make a Facebook page. It gets really fun starting to make the ads and boosting them and then seeing the results come in. I guess I'm a marketing nerd, so it's like really, really fun to kind of see that kind of thing happen. And then I do think the direct booking sites are really helpful. So there's regional ones in a lot of different regions. So Vacation Stays is the one that I'm launching. And then there's also Halfy, and I don't think it's either or. I don't think it's, book on Vacation Stays, not Halfy. Put your listings on both. The more you can get your listing out there, the better. For mine, it's going to be about the marketing angle, like really pushing the marketing. We're getting influencers on board, and so we're really excited about that part. I hired a college student to do some of the marketing, so I now have a TikTok account. So, trying to find, where I do not have strength, hire that.
You ain't out there TikToking?
I'm not TikToking, but I do watch the videos and I do appreciate them. So, yeah.
Can you kind of go into what Vacation Stays is and how you're doing it? Because you said some pretty cool stuff earlier about it before we hopped on.
Yeah, so Vacation Stays, it's a listing website, and you can put your property on there. You can put your website if you have it. If you don't have a website, you can put your contact info. There's a small listing fee to sign up, but then once you're on for a year, it's really about us doing the work. We need to put you on social media. We need to do Google ads. So we're trying to leverage a broader number of people that are going to get your listing in front of them. It is pretty small right now. We have 600 listings, but that does get us started, because with 600 listings, yes, maybe you're the first or second or third in your area, but then when people are looking in your area, you're the one that's there. You're there first, or you're the early adopter. So there is a benefit to being an early adopter.
So on your website, Vacation Stays, they can come directly to the host. They're not going
directly. Yep.
Wow.
Yeah. So, I thought about in the beginning, I should do a commission model because then, people are paid for bookings and things like that. But then I'd have to chase. I'd have to be like, oh, did you go off platform? And now we have this like contentious relationship. I don't want any contentious relationships on this site. So, people pay the annual fee to come on. It's between $25 and $75, depending on the size of your listing. You come on, and then it's, people might message you through vacation stays, or they might just see you on social media and go straight to you. So there's no pride of ownership where it came from. It's just about getting you as many direct leads as possible.
So you're running ads for the people that list with you.
Running ads for the people. So if people list with me, we'll run ads for them. Once we have a lot, we'll have to find, what's the rotation of getting people on. But, it's those listings that people want to see them. So yeah, that'll also just be what gets us traffic when we put really cool listings on our social media and draw people to us. So
you're a self-proclaimed marketing nerd. So what are some badass marketing tips to give to our listeners?
I think it's really the biggest thing, especially in this industry, is about authenticity and just being as kind of real as possible. And making that, bringing that authenticity throughout the entire experience. So, my cabins are a bed and breakfast. I do not make breakfast. No one wants to eat my breakfast, but I do have a lady named Mary who makes a fantastic breakfast, and she brings breakfast every single morning in a picnic basket. And it adds so much to the experience, and it's about, knowing what people want and then authentically providing what they want. So, it goes back to really like knowing your customer really, really well. So I think, marketing tips would be knowing your customer, authentically providing an experience. And, and there's some hustle. There's definitely hustle around it. But once you kind of have something that you're excited about, you kind of can't help but talk about it, and can't help but, post and share. And, like you guys, you're talking about real estate all the time because you're passionate about it. Create something you're really passionate about, and the marketing kind of just comes along with it.
Love that. You're sparking my joy for this industry again. We've been talking to a lot of people, and a lot of people are on to like 100 units, 1,000 units. I mean, they're getting crazy with it, and it's become like a business, and we talk business and stuff. But I forgot, I kind of lose track about what I love most about it. It's the small things, making the place really cool, making it nice, the connections with the people. Yeah, that's the stuff that gets me my juices flowing.
Yeah, it's fun, and that. That energy, flows through to the guests. They can tell if people enjoy it. People will talk about the little things that we'll do. Like we'll write them a note on the chalkboard and things like that. And they absolutely love that. It's those little things that, and it comes from enjoying what you're doing. So,
I'll bring it up real quick, and I already know kind of your answer to this a little bit. I'm on the same wavelength, because when we stayed in South Padre, we stayed in a cool place. It was a nice place. It was 2-bedroom, 2-bath. It was kind of big, and got a good deal because we booked it while everybody's afraid of COVID. Now everything's packed again. It's funny how it went. Everything went down and shot like crazy up, and so we got there, and it's funny because the way things used to be run in Padre and a lot of beach communities was like, hey, enjoy the place, bring your own toilet paper, bring your own paper towels, bring your own, someone bring your own sheets, bring your own towels, like that. But now people are like having to transition to do things the Airbnb way. So, okay, we'll give you one roll of toilet paper in each bathroom. It's still and one trash bag in each trash can. And I'm like, oh yeah, this place is still kind of backwards a little bit, but they're trying. But because I gave them advice, I still gave them a good review, but I gave them the private advice. I said, we're staying there for a week. You could at least give us like a couple more trash bags, a couple more rolls, just so we won't have to go. Oh freak, we got to go to the grocery store later because things fill up quick when you're on vacation. So I know you approach it differently. Do you give them a lot of supplies or enough supplies?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I think my answer is actually about like the economics of it. So if I go to a place and I'm spending, less than $100 a night, I really wanted a good deal, and I get one roll of toilet paper, I'm like, yeah, but I got a steal on this place, right? But if you're going to go and spend $250 a night and, and spend all of your time going there and going, then, give people decent toilet paper and give them enough for their stay. So I think it's actually economics that would drive that. The only other thing that could drive it, like with the sheets and things like that, that can actually be a municipality thing. Like there's some, if you provide sheets versus not provide sheets, it can actually change your taxes in certain places, which is really interesting.
Yeah, I've never heard of that. That is interesting.
Yeah.
But like, to me, I was kind of in my mind, I was thinking, okay, well, they're used to, because they live kind of like next door to these people who have these condos, and it's like a little fourplex, and they're used to just they say, oh, we'll clean them for you kind of thing. They're not really, they'd still do their own business kind of thing. They build sandcastles, which is cool too. Hey man, that could have been a freaking great Airbnb experience. I would have paid for that. But anyways, they didn't add that. So I was thinking, well, they must be used to a lot of the like weekenders, and they're not going to give a whole bunch of supplies for weekenders, but we're staying for a whole freaking week. We're paying a nice chunk of money. You could have throw a freaking couple bucks more for some toilet paper. You know what I'm saying? It goes a long way.
Yeah. Well, and I think it's also, that can really be down to your processes too, right? Because it may have been a cleaner who is always going in and always leaving one roll versus, Rebecca knows who's coming, and she knows when they're staying for a long time, or they know, she'll say, hey, this group has 6 people in it, so we need to make sure that we stock up for them. So I think, that kind of thing is pretty thoughtful. So I think if your processes are, we leave one roll of toilet paper between each stay because they're always 2-night stays, then you're going to miss some things whenever, you have a group that maybe is there for longer, or a larger group that is also bringing in a little bit more money, right? So something to think about.
And what do y'all do with the half and quarter and 3/4 rolls of toilet paper? I'm sorry, I'm digging real deep into toilet paper right now, but this is important questions people need to know.
I'm not sure. I think they probably end up at my staff's house, but I think that's fine. I mean, you know what? Like if they want to take that as their bonus, that's fine. Doesn't bother me at all.
And anything left in the fridge is theirs too, right? The fridge is
all. Anything left in the fridge. I do get some pictures sometimes of like, people went to like one of the creamery and get like a block of cheese and leave them a whole block of cheese, or like a whole bottle of wine. And I'm like getting a little jealous, but hey, that's their tip. So.
Yeah, I went to my cleaners. I went to a cleaning of one of my places about a couple weeks ago, and yeah, they have so much stuff that they take home. I'm like, geez, you got alcohol, everything. But I was like, I forgot because I don't clean it anymore. But it was crazy. Like, oh man.
Yeah. No, and they, sometimes they'll get some good tips too, and sometimes the bottle of wine is the tip, and that's great. That's great. I mean, it's hard work cleaning. I'm really glad I don't do it. I did it I had an issue, but I was between staff a couple years ago, and I went and did it. I got complaints like every day. I always missed something, or didn't get something right, or like forgot the towels. And I'm like, oh, this job is hard.
Yeah, because it's no longer a part of your routine.
Yeah.
You forget it. Because the cleaners get better at it than you were. And that's really the goal. That's the goal.
Yeah.
So better at it than you are. So yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And they've got it, top of mind, and they do it all the time. And, they don't miss stuff because they know, I do think it's important to have, to have the same, at one point I was kind of patching together, like, oh, I'll have this cleaner come on this day, and then this cleaner come on this day. And, it didn't quite work because there wasn't that consistency of like always knowing. They would maybe forget different things, or, not have all the processes down.
So with you having 4 short-term rentals, how many cleaners do you have on your team?
I just have one. Right now. One, and then she has a couple backups. If there's a day that we have to turn over all 4, she has backups. But when I do my next purchase, which is going to be sometime this fall, she's actually going to pull back and do more management, which is really kind of cool. And so she's going to be kind of running, a couple cleaners running around, which it's kind of like in my day job, whenever someone that's working for me is like successful and they get promoted. Like she's going to get promoted when I buy more of these. So
yeah, that's what my primary cleaner's doing now, because we're doing a rehab and she's actually over the rehab, and then she actually just trained a cleaner. So she's over 2 cleaners and then she's doing a rehab. So it's like, I can't beat it. I can't beat that. So definitely.
Yeah. I mean, you're someone who knows what needs to be done and, takes the ownership, and that's everything.
Yeah. Teamwork make the dream work.
Yeah, exactly.
Now, have you reached financial independence through your rentals and short term and long terms? Have you got close? Or is there a jumping off point where you can say, I'm gonna just quit my job and do this?
First of all, I love my day job, but I also kind of want a fancy life. Like I don't, I could, I guess, but I think I could be financially independent if I was kind of there doing the cleaning, and I was there, running it. But that's kind of not what I want to do. I have a day job that I absolutely love, so I'm not looking to leave that anytime soon. I am looking to be financially independent from it so that I can I'm not donating my time by any stretch. Financial independence is probably a few years away from me, but I don't know I don't know what that's going to look like. I think it could still look like doing the job that I'm doing, but instead of, working 40 hours, maybe I'm working 20, or like only taking on a few projects a year or something like that. So that I have more time to do real estate projects. But yeah, no, I haven't reached financial independence. No. Mm-mm.
And so what is a fancy life to you?
Well, I listened to Clayton Morris, and he said something about, if you cut out the fancy coffee every morning, that's not in and of itself going to make you a millionaire. Find something that is going to help you afford that fancy coffee. And that's kind of how I look at it. I'm like, I don't want to have to cut things out. I do live below my means, because that I think is important for every single freedom finder type of mindset. I absolutely live below my means, but I think what I want to be able to do is not have to really think about those things. If I want to eat out, go to a restaurant or things like that, I want to just be able to do it and not have to, check my bank account. So I think if I were to stop my day job now, I'd have to check my bank account to make sure that I could afford to go out to dinner, as often as I want to. But so that's kind of what I mean by like a fancy life. Like I don't want to I want to create something where I don't have to question whether I can afford the coffee.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's a good answer.
I want my fancy coffee.
your fancy Folgers Plus.
Yeah, exactly.
I guess I ask a lot of people to hop on here. Like, okay, I'll ask you. I was gonna say ask them all a Sarah tip, but they're not all Sarahs. What would be like a Sarah short-term rental tip? Something that you when you were doing, I don't know, when you're doing short-term, either when you were like more hands-on or whatever, you figured something out. You're like, wow, if I do this, this happens. What is like something that jumps out at you that's like just like a you thing?
So about a year ago, I had like one central hot tub for all of the cabins that they all shared. And that thing went down. And I was like, okay, we just don't have a hot tub anymore. That's fine. Like, I can rent these without a hot tub, right? No, people started canceling left and right. They're like, we want our hot tub. And I think in that moment, I realized, by listening to my customers, I realized how important that hot tub was. And I was like, well, what would happen if I actually put private hot tubs at each cabin? It went, game changer for my cabins, like absolute game changer. And so I first put it at one, and then people that were staying at the other two were like, but we want a hot tub too. And so I put it at 2, and I was like, okay, well, I have one kind of low cost cabin. No, they all want the hot tub, and they're willing to pay a little bit more for it. And, I have the hot tubs like at I don't know why it's a 0 APR loan on it. I'll take 0 APR all day. So I'm like, this is great. It more than pays for what the hot tubs cost. So that was like a huge unlock for me, where it was just like, that doesn't necessarily mean it works everywhere, right? But for this particular trip, for this particular group of guests, like there's a set of things that unlock the perfect experience for them. And it's about privacy and hot tubs and dogs and wine. And that works for this group.
Whatever floats their boats, man.
That's what works. That's what works.
You know, it's funny when you said the hot tub thing, because like my buddies, I have friends that they go every year, January. They go to, well, I don't know about this year because of but anyways, they go to the Colorado and they do like this. They do a Texas Country Fest in Colorado. I believe it's in Colorado Springs or something like that. But anyways, the first pictures they always send us, the ones that don't go, is the hot tub from their balcony. Every single room has its own personal hot tub, and that's the first picture. You see the beer sitting there, you see the snow, and I mean, it's like that's it, man. I mean, they would not rent a room without a hot tub, and I was like, man, that's some powerful stuff. Just like to me, because my house has a swimming pool, and I was like, man, I totally, I mean, I booked it for a price that I thought was reasonable. I was going out of town. And booked up the whole week, was booked quick. I was like, oh crap, I booked it too low. And then a friend of the show that she's been on the show, she said before, she's like, what, you should be charging at least double what you put on there for. You have a swimming pool. And it's right now it's COVID. Everybody wants to do the staycations, but now everybody wants to go they want to have a hot tub, man. I mean, just things like that. It seemed like, it has to be too expensive, too much maintenance. Man, they'll make you so much money.
Yeah, I mean, and that's it. Like where yours are, it's the swimming pool. That's the unlock. That's gonna go from a mediocre I'm discounting sometimes. People are asking for discounts to like fully booked, and I sometimes I'm like, I could raise my prices more because I'm so booked, but then I'm like, I still try to think about like, well, would I want to pay that? I'm not sure if I would. So I try to think about like, what do I think is fair for it? And yeah.
I don't know. Hear about that fancy life.
I do like it to be a little fancy. I want my fancy coffee. I want my takeout. I want my Uber. I want to Uber to places.
Ooh, Uber Black?
No.
Okay, not that fancy.
Not that fancy. No, live below my means, regular Uber pool.
Oh, no.
Uber pool.
Not right now.
New York City. The alternative is the, MTA. So
Uber takes like 20 minutes to get one person nowadays.
Yeah. Oh, really?
Oh,
I'm not in the country now. I haven't been in an Uber in months.
I went in 2 so far. It takes like 20 minutes to get an Uber driver now. It's crazy.
No one would want to take public transportation now.
That's true. A
lot of them hopped on that unemployment though, because they were allowed to hop on the unemployment plus the $600 a week. They were getting that's $2,400 for doing nothing plus whatever you made, doing the Uber thing. So
Ubers, they got a SB. They can get SBA if you did Uber anytime.
Really?
Yeah, you can get SBA.
Wow.
So you can get unemployment and it, man. I know people living. I know people living a fat life right now because of that. They used to do Uber and then they stopped. Then they got the Uber, the SBA, and it's. But I don't know. I think you have to pay it back. Some of it. I don't know. From what I don't know.
The PPP, you shouldn't have to pay back the PPP. The disaster loan, though, I think it's a very long time you have to pay it back. I think
mine was like 30 years at 3.75.
Yeah.
It was crazy. So I'm like,
it's crazy. I'm like, yeah, I'll take that. Of course.
I
love good financing. Like good financing gets me so excited.
Exactly. I was like 3.75. I was like, I could lend that at double, but.
Yeah. Disaster loan, 0% APR hot tubs, and 1031 exchange. Like those are the things that get me like all nerdy.
You're a tax nerd like me. See, I'm a tax nerd. Yeah.
We've got real estate it's one of the ways you make money, right? It's just by being smart about taxes.
Boom. So Sarah, you dropped some serious knowledge on us today. We want to thank you for coming on the show and sparking my enjoyment factor, the thing that got me into this in the whole first place. It's you got that joy in me. My juice is going again, so I appreciate that. And how can people find you?
So you can find me, vacationstays.com. You can get me on Instagram at vacationstays
Is it STAYZ?
Yeah, STAYZ. Yep. Okay. Vacation Stays with a Z. So find me there. I'm monitoring the Instagram and the Facebook. So if you reach out there, you'll get me.
Yeah, and by the way, she found us on IG. So
I did.
yeah, she hit us up on IG. So that was.
I'm getting better at Instagram. I'm working on it.
Me too. I actually love IG. Actually, I love it. It's a really great way to connect with a lot of hosts, and then you can see their places, things like that. It's really great.
Of course, Micah finds a way to automate everything too. So
yeah, that's my thing. I'm an automation guy.
I would love some tips on that.
Oh, I automate everything. If I can automate it, if I can get a VA to do it, I'm gonna do it. So
nice.
Yeah.
Well, cool. Well, thank you, Sarah, for hopping on. Anything else you'd like to add or say to our fans, listeners?
No, thank you guys so much. I really appreciate it. I think that direct booking is the way of the future for the vacation rental industry. So, if you don't join vacationstays.com, find another way to kind of create some independence, because I think that it will be really satisfying. It will give you back control, and there'll be a financial benefit as well.
Definitely.
Sweet.
Awesome.
All right. Well, thanks a lot.
Thank you for
coming. See you. Good luck.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.
That was a good episode with Sara Aber with Vacation Stays. She hit us up on IG.
A great episode.
Yeah, great episode. That was a really good episode.
You can tell she loved what she did. A lot of people come on here. They want to vent. They like our very first big guest. Remember the Treehouse guy? he just straight up was. That was back when we were just starting out Airbnb, and he just like went to the woodshed with it, man.
He hit me up not too long ago. Yeah, he hit me up not too long ago, man. He hit me up, and man, he's actually gone through some stuff. He almost died. He came back, and he's doing pretty well. But yeah, I think he still got that treehouse. But it's like a lot of people took his idea afterwards, man. A lot of people thought tree houses, man. But I think Seals is still number one. But yeah, man, it's cool. Yeah, you do have to fall in love with it. Find something about it you love. Me, I'm really finding the part that I love is the acquisition part, like seeing how I can get a good deal, the acquisition. And after that, after it's acquired, throw it to the management team and go to the next one. That's my excitement part. So,
acquisitions. I like that.
Yes, sir, man. Yes, sir. How was that Padre trip?
That was fun, man. I needed a refresher like that. Yeah, it was cool. Just some good beach time, laid back, chill. Did a little cruise, in the bay right there. Did a little sunset cruise. Right. I mean, Padre's cool, man. It's a cool place. It's not too far from us, Yeah,
nice. I'm hitting Miami in 2 weeks.
Miami.
Yeah, I'll be in Miami in 2 weeks.
Wow.
$122.
Oh, what?
Oh, $122, 3 nights, 5-star hotel, and the flight.
That's nothing.
I'm out of there, bro. Hey, I got that. I was like, yo, I'm out. I'll holler at y'all. I was like, I had to give COVID the finger on that one. I'm sorry, dog.
Just show up in a full mask to the airport.
Yeah, I'm gonna be masked up. Mask, gloves on, but Miami, we coming, baby. So now, yeah, I can't beat that.
Now, this would be good advice to give to our listeners who plan on flying right now or going somewhere. Go to Republican states because they ain't closing down for shit, and don't go to Democrat states because they're shutting everything down. They're gonna quarantine your ass when you get there. I'm not being political. I'm just saying, do that.
So I have family in town. My uncle just flew out. They have family in town. They came from a liberal state, and everything's closed. And they got here. They're like, man, everything's open. I'm like, yeah, you can go wherever. They're like, dang, they've been going out. But that's true. I've been telling people, if you want to travel to a Republican state right now. If don't travel liberal. It's still closed down. They in different phases. But Republicans about their bread, so they ain't giving no damn. They don't give a damn,
You don't see Trump with a mask on, so they're all following his lead and shit.
Oh man.
So that's a tip you only get on Live Let Thrive. Travel to Republican states right now. All right?
Yeah, if you're trying to kick it, that's the truth. Go
to the liberal states.
Yeah, they ain't happening. Because my family got here, man. They was gas mask on, everything. I'm like, dang. Yeah, like it's COVID month 1, but I don't knock people to wear masks. I still wear my mask every now and then, but I ain't gonna lie. I've been going out. I went to I went to a bar. But it was, there's not people out though. People ain't out. Like everything's open, but people aren't out. So it's like, it is what it is. But yeah, Miami, I got to hit South Beach one time, man. 120 people. I can't beat it.
There's I'll find the name of it. There's like a mixed drink place, like right there on the beach.
Really?
It's a frozen drink place. Anyways, it's in Miami South Beach, right there, right at the corner. You see all the bars and restaurants all lined up, right across the street from the beach. Oh man, I'll figure out the name too. I bet there's people listening. It's like, oh, I know that one, But I mean, if you get one of them drinks, man, because they're freaking strong, dude. Don't get two. You be like, man, this tastes good, but don't do two, man. Because I did it. We did like we went to South Beach because we had like a 4-hour layover from the airport. We're going to Barcelona. Ooh. So my buddy there, he's like, I'll pick you up and I'll drop you off at South Beach for a little while. You could check it out and everything. And it's just like the movies, dude. It's like what, I don't know about now because of COVID. Well, now it's a Republican state. Nobody gets
bro. Only reason I'm going is because I've been watching people on Facebook. I'm like, damn, man, they out there hanging out like it ain't nothing happened, man. But the cases, of course, are going up. So. It's just like
the hottest people on the planet walking down everywhere with buck naked, man. It's just like the movies, man. It's just like that. And so
real.
That I'll send you that place. But they make these really, really good frozen drinks, man. And they're so you just need one, you'd be feeling all right. You get another one, you might not remember things.
Oh yeah, for $122, man, I have plenty of spending money, so I think I'll probably buy about 2 or 3 of them, But yeah, man, it's crazy, So, but I'm happy that at least there's some vacation stops we can go to and get your mind a break from everything that's going on,
Oh, yeah.
I remember you saying one time, vacations are a cleansing to the soul.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah,
they clean your mind and your soul. You feel refreshed,
Yeah.
And then it makes you like, oh, man, I kind of want. I need to figure out a way to not have to work anymore, not to go punch a time clock anymore, because I like this. I like being able to do whatever I want, whenever I want. They're inspiring too. They get you out of a rut.
And like when you asked Sarah about financial independence and all that. I've kind of grown to that. Like I'm kind of patient on it. But because I have a clear-cut goal, like I'm going for 10. I'm trying to own 10 houses, and I know I can do it. I have the knowledge to do it. I have everything in line. I've been reading a lot, so I have the knowledge to do it. So I just need 10 houses, and I don't have to just quit my job or anything, but it gives me that leverage, where hey, I don't have to work, or you have that leverage. So, we got one under contract right now. We bought one. We got a rehab going. This is like the most I've had going, and it's stressful at times. Shit's stressful, man. It's like, man, you got one under contract. This one's getting rehab. I got one and I'm refinancing. It's like, dang, So.
And they're out of state too, so that's a little.
Yeah. But that's the fun part. Is like once you get that confidence of buying something out of state that you ain't. One of them I bought, I ain't never seen it. Didn't lay my eyes on it. But we got it. Man, it turned out to be a really good property. You have to go in there with your mind, knowing, hey, this is a good idea. But yeah, so it's fun though. I like start to see what those people on Bigger Pockets are talking about. Once you really get into it and get that momentum going, it's fun.
Yeah, man. Keep it rolling.
Yeah, man.
Well, it's a great ep.
Yeah,
great episode. We had an awesome guest, and yeah, back at it, man. We're back at it.
Yes, sir. COVID ain't stopped nobody. Especially us in this Republican state.
Yeah, stay in the red states if y'all want to give some nice vacations right now.
What I think the only good red states right now to go to, Florida,
Texas,
Carolina, probably Texas. Yeah. If you want a beach though, Carolina, South Carolina.
Yeah, all around the coast,
Yeah, the coast, pretty much. Yeah, the South Coast. Yeah,
the South Coast.
33rd.
Yeah. Don't go to the West Coast now. They'll lock you in.
It's locked down. Yeah, because as a matter of fact, I was on a consulting call, and the dude said, man, I walked through LAX, man. I just walked straight through, man. I was like, LAX? He's like, bro, it's dead. I was like, wow. That's crazy. If LAX dead, it's liberal state thing.
They're shutting down again over there, man. They're shutting down again.
They're talking about shutting down again here.
In Texas?
Yeah.
Well, the gov said some words the other day, but he didn't say the shutdown stuff. He said some more. He's encouraging people to be cool. Yeah, hey, be cool, and I want to do nothing. That's what he's saying. And other states are like, no, we're shutting it down. He's just
Man, the governor had me rolling though, man. Dude comes up, he's like, "Yeah, man, the cases are out of control. People are." He goes, "Yeah, the hospital beds are getting full, but do what you will with that information." Like, dang. Like, dang. You know, it was like, dang. You know, he's like, but I don't know, man. I've found 2 people that have gotten it that are pretty early 30s, you know, but I don't know, man.
Yeah, younger people are getting it now, and so that's making the death rate drop a lot. It's not as deadly. Well, because they're more
out there, is what you're saying.
They're protecting a lot of the more, you know, the older and the more susceptible ones are being more careful. Yeah. At first, nobody was being careful. Now they are. You know, the youngsters are still going out doing. I want to go to a restaurant, go to a bar, whatever. So yeah, they're catching it, but then most likely they're not going to die from it. So the mortality rate is actually dropping, even though more people are getting it. So that's one positive, I guess.
Yeah.
My agent, South Padre, I don't know how to say her name or nothing. Her mom has it over there. Yeah, so that's she had to go to the hospital and stuff. So it's kind of getting, you know, at first we're like, I don't know anybody. Do you know anybody that has it? Blah blah blah. Now it's starting to get a little closer, a couple steps closer.
Yeah, it is. Like, oh snap, you, I know you. You know,
The first person I saw that had it. Remember we did that mastermind Zoom call.
Yeah.
And it was that girl in New York.
Yeah.
She recovered and everything?
Yeah, she's good out in Jersey.
What about her parents?
I haven't heard about her parents.
Okay.
Yeah. But I've known a couple people have passed from it. You know, they were older. So I have been avoiding like going around older people, knowing that I haven't been, knowing that I've been out and about, because I've even had to go to my job a couple times. So, you know.
I work, man. I work with the high seniority workplace, man. These old people are still going to work. I can't understand it, man. Y'all need to stay your asses at home, man.
Do they give them a choice to do that, though?
It's a weird deal. I think a lot of them just want to keep going to work. I think if they put in the right paperwork and put in this and that, they could be able to stay off and they, you know, they'd even be able to get some assistance. But a lot of them are I don't know. They don't want to be home. I don't know.
I feel it. Yeah.
But
damn,
this craziness, man, it needs to stop. We need to find some vaccine.
I don't know if I'm getting no vaccine, man.
Yeah.
That's just me. I don't know, dog. I don't know about the vaccine, but hey, you know.
Yeah. What's his name? Bill Gates will make sure you get it. Don't worry.
Yeah.
You go to the DMV for something, they're like, "Pink, gotcha."
Yeah, it'll chip your ass. Oh man. But yeah, man, that was a good episode. Sarah, she's done a good job with the vacation stay. She actually hit us up on IG. So yeah, man, y'all keep listening to us, living, letting, thriving. If you got any issues with funding SBAs, go check out the episode before this one. I dropped a little how-to on how to use that SBA loan money. Be careful with it because it's a bunch of strings attached to it, a bunch of fine print. I just dropped an article, too, about the Department of Justice are about to start investigating the loan. So make sure if you got a loan, make sure you got it based on your tax returns, not no forged up numbers you made up. So, yeah. So, but yeah, man, other than that, yeah, what was you saying?
Or just send it back in an envelope. There you go. I'm just kidding.
Yeah, I'll just bullshit. No. But yeah, man. Other than that, man, y'all keep living. I'm happy thank you for continuing to listen to us as well.
Yes, sir.
We are out.
Later.
Peace.
Thank you for tuning in to this week's episode of Live, Let, Thrive. Be sure to tune in next week for all the latest in the world of Airbnb and all that entails. Bye-bye.